And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the market recap. It is still the 8th of November, 2022, Election Day. My name is John Hogan. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Well, so much for a quiet election day. We had equity futures go around the world today. We have the E-mini S&Ps finishing up about 20 points, 0.5% unofficially, with a 75-point range for the day. The NASDAQ, a 303-point range today, up about 75 points, about 0.68%. And the Dow, up 335 at the end of the day, up approximately 1%. Part of the issue today was that the dollar hit the skids to about a one-month low, sending gold to a one-month high. A little bit of assistance from technical strength in the gold. Euro reaches 2-week highs. Silver reaches levels not seen since June. A bit of a breakout to the upside potential for silver this afternoon. You get the 10-year rates fall by about 8 basis points today. U.S. voters have hit the polls today. From what I'm hearing, turnout is very strong. I guess there's a few problems with some of the electronic voting machines, and there always seems to be. We may have an island top in natural gas. I would be very surprised to see this hold. And crude kind of just cleaned up weak structure below price today. We're going to see all of that in the charts very soon. So hopefully you've had a good trading day. As we always say, anything can happen, and it proves itself again today. As far as economic numbers for tomorrow, really, got wholesale inventories not expected to be a big market mover. We have the EIA petroleum status report. We have the API this afternoon, so we'll, of course, be keeping an eye on that. We do have a couple of scheduled talking Feds tomorrow. John Williams early, 3 a.m., that's 2 a.m. Central. I wonder if he's changed his clock yet. But we also have Barkin at 10 a.m. Central. And that looks like about it for our talking Feds tomorrow. And what else we got going on? Well, as always, make sure you hit the lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling are always welcome here on the forecast recap and everything. We had a good coach's playbook today. This morning we had a couple of issues with getting on the wrong side of the market and make Hogue money this morning, but that's okay. I recovered all those losses, and we basically ended the day break even, so that's good. We do have tomorrow. Let me look at my handy-dandy calendar here. Tomorrow we have the group coaching at 12:30, make Hogue money at 2, and recap tomorrow at 3:15 with make Hogue money ending at 3 o'clock. Got to give me a few minutes to get prepared for the market recap so we can see what happened in these markets. So, good afternoon, George. Good afternoon. Lacey is not on the forbidden couch today because it's voting day and Mom is home, so she's not on the forbidden couch today. Rooster, good afternoon. Haggle Matters. Joe, hello, Joe. Chilling with Dylan. Eugene got my funded account back for the second time. Nice job, Eugene. Good job. Let's build slowly and keep it going. Pedro, first day in the funded account today, was up $2K and gave it back. Oof. Pedro, what's wrong with continuing to trade and maybe giving 500 of that back and then making sure you're a plus player at the end of the day, or even 1,000? you'd still be up 1,000 at the end of the day. Consider where you got to cut things off. I know that first losing trade after having a really good run early in the session, whatever it was, it's painful. You want to try and get back to where you were, but a lot of times it takes us out of our strategy and has us looking for mediocre trade opportunities. I'm sorry that happened, but yeah, like Rooster said, at least you didn't lose. Aglematter says the market profile today was unreal. Yeah, well, if you were looking at the equities, I mean, the opening range in the S&Ps was the high of the session to begin with. Usually that tells me we've got a little bit of seller control, but we had really strong delta, positive delta. And once we took out that high of that opening range, it was all short bets were off, and we moved this market considerably higher. And then we came all the way back, took out the low. We were actually lower on the day for a while and then closed back higher on the day. It was really pretty wild day. I'm wondering what the volume was like. Taking a quick look here at the New York Stock Exchange. So volume was actually stronger than yesterday. A little bit higher volume than yesterday in New York. Interesting. Eugene saying on the first day, break even is a win, man. Yes, Pedro. Sometimes, we learn these lessons over and over again. I'm still learning lessons that I've learned 30 years ago these days. So, what was I talking about? The volume wasn't bad today. It was pretty decent. All right, let's take a look through the charts and see what we saw today, see what we were thinking, and see what ended up happening for the day. So here we go. We're going to start with the daily in crude. Let me make sure I get the charts up here so we can see them. So we've been putting up higher highs, putting up higher lows. Didn't put in a lower low today, so that's a good thing for longs, not necessarily good for those of us that want to pay cheaper for gasoline. Long time frame balance. This long time frame balance we've been in, when it's pretty centrally located between weekly kickoff high and low. We saw possibly some profit taking yesterday. We saw perhaps some more profit taking today. I'm going to be interested to see if we lose open interest after this down session today. But when we were looking at the 30-minute chart, we said, if we open with a gap, which is it's showing possible rejection of higher pricing. We opened with a gap. We closed the gap. We hung here for quite a while, and then we talked about previous gap fill from last week, which is pretty much what we did. We took out a naked point of control that was through the gap, and we traded down and closed that gap. So a kind of a technical move, I think, today, and we're going to have to see what the API and the EIA are showing us for tomorrow's session. Here's the S&Ps. Chilling with Dylan. So yeah, volume didn't show up until the noon when we broke the trend. Wild day. It was a wild day. Let's check that out here on the 30-minute chart. But recovery of last week's route, it seems to be continuing today. We tested up through and did not close above weekly kickoff high. That's something that's may prove to be a little bit interesting. The focus, I think, on from traders is, of course, the election, CPI Thursday. The dollar dropping, I think, was a big part of what pushed some of these markets into some larger ranges today. We were looking at central location between last week's high and low. Here's the 30. So pretty much standard volume until the market turned, and then we turned the volume up here. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good vision that you've got there. Chilling with Dylan. Volume really did start to come in on this push to the downside, but all day long we had really positive delta. Now, that positive delta when the opening range was the high of the session led me to believe that we may have some relative stronger sellers in this market than buyers. But these buyers, man, they pushed higher. We had a huge delta, positive delta at the highs here, which tells me it's shorter time frame traders. And boy, once they figured out that they weren't going to get it to go anymore, they turned this market really quickly. Pretty decent push to the downside, taking out our overnight low, looking to extend lower. And really just kind of finding an area here and turning around and coming all the way back up to retest weekly kickoff high. This was a nutty day. This was a little bit crazy, but we at the end we did move value higher. We have settlement higher. We have overlapping to higher range. The short time frame upside structure remains intact. Let's see if tomorrow we can accept with a little bit more time and momentum and volume above weekly kickoff high. Here's the NASDAQ. Here's the daily. Continued weaker than the other equities. Still, I mean, relatively centrally located between the high and low from last week. Let me make sure these are correct. Yeah, those are correct. Take a look at the 30. I think we're going to see more interesting information there. Oh, I didn't get the profile on there. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? So the market did open a little bit higher. I mean, we did open with a gap, and the initial move was to the downside. Not very deep, though. We didn't really fill the gap until, yeah, I think we did fill the gap in the first 30 minutes, but it was supportive where we didn't have that necessarily in the S&Ps. The market pushed right up to a naked point of control from back here. We're going to take that off now because now that's been rechecked. Look at how good those naked points of control bring targets and sometimes even opportunities for executions right about there. What a great spot. Market turns around, comes back, closes higher, overlapping to higher range, higher settlement. Market in short time frame has really good upside structure. We are kind of missing a naked point of control down here, but other than that, the points of control have all been checked. Gold, what a day in gold. Who would have thunk it, right? Although we did see a breakout above balance on Friday. Yesterday, we saw an increase in open interest outside of balance. Today, the market opens, leaves the opening range, the low of the session, and takes a little while, but eventually really pushes to the upside as the dollar pushes lower. Here's how the day worked out. Basically, a very small range yesterday, adding 5,100 in open interest. The opening range is the low of the session. The market just leaps to the upside. We've got another naked point of control we can take off here. Getting pretty close to a test of weekly kickoff high. Maybe in the cards for us tomorrow. See what the open interest does today, too. I mean, this was half an hour. I mean, the majority of the range in 30 minutes. This is a big move. The euro, another up day, of course, with the dollar presenting as weak as it did. Still seeing open interest increasing yesterday. We're getting pretty close to the high of our area of balance here. I'm going to see how that looks for us tomorrow. Here's another naked point of control we tested straight to. We'll take that off. Let us know that there was a point of control that it traded through. Boom. Same spot, same time, same dollar drop. Pushes the euro higher. Sam, nice job passing step 1 today. Good job. Here's the 10-year. So the yield on the 10-year saw a little bit of a drop today. It's still above 4.1%, but it did come off its recent highs a little bit. Last week's low was supportive. Yesterday, more supportive for us today. Here's the 30-minute chart. Last week's low here. Right there, last week's low. Support. Continuation. Really just still kind of range bound. Just a blurb. Just a lurch to the downside in the yield on the 10-year. Now look at this. This I find interesting, and this is something I'm going to be watching. This is the natural gas range breakout. Okay, last Friday, yesterday, continuation with a weekly gap. That weekend gap, that gap between Friday and Monday and today remains now with only overnight trade between them. So we've got a regular trading hour session, and a regular trading hour session. We've got a naked point of control here that will pull off. Where is the... Whoops. Okay, there we go. So we've got an island top, but did we really come up to the island top, or is this... I mean, this is balance. This is an island top. This is rejection of higher pricing. If we continue this market lower, there could be some considerable continuation to the downside. I mean, I'm looking at the recent lows down here as an easy target for that. If that island top remains, we will be watching to see if that is going to happen. I don't know how to say your name. Is it Fuctitious? Going to start with step 1, the end of the month, studying. Let us know how things go, Fuctitious. We are looking forward to your success. Here's that island top again. Interesting. JD, I was relatively convinced it was going to be a slow grind as well. I really thought it was going to be because of the elections. You know, nobody knows the outcomes. Nobody knows anything yet. So if there are going to be things that are going to affect the market, I would think that a lot of folks would be just kind of hedged into and being patient and waiting for the opportunity to see how these markets respond tonight and tomorrow to these elections. We do have CPI on Thursday, so that's going to be an important number for us to kind of keep an eye on and remember. So, but don't worry, I'll be reminding you. Today in history, the use of X-rays was discovered. A physicist in Germany discovered X-rays on November 8th, 1895. You could see the unseen, was what he was saying. Sonny Bono of Sonny and Cher was actually elected into the U.S. Congress in 1994 on this date. 1960, John F. Kennedy was elected president on this date. In 1864, Abraham Lincoln was reelected on this date. Something cool in music, Led Zeppelin 4 came out on this date in 1971. 1971. Hard to believe. Ricky Lee Jones' birthday today. She was born in 1954. Bonnie Raitt's birthday is today. She was born in 1949. And Minnie Riperton, 1947. was born on this date. If you know who Minnie Riperton is, I'll give you $1. Give you $1. So, well, we are still awaiting the API numbers. I'm not going to keep you here until those come out. I know you know how to find them. But they are looking for 1.1 million barrel boost in crude stocks tonight with the API, and EIA is looking for a 1.36 million barrel boost. So we'll see how close they come to those numbers, tomorrow morning. JD, do you have any tips for holding through pullbacks? My analysis is generally good, but I'm not getting the full potential out of my trades. That's one of the hardest things that I think traders deal with is you've got a trade on, it's going your way. You think, this is great, everything's going my way, everything's going well, and the market eventually comes into some kind of a pullback. So what do? Do you get out? Do you stay in? It seems like if I do stay in, I should have gotten out. And if I get out, I should have stayed in. It's really just what is the bigger context of the marketplace. It happens to all of us, JD. We get into these trades and we have ideas or even reasonable expectations for profit targets, and the market never gives us that opportunity just to go from entry to exit without any duress. So, some people will use trailing stops, and they usually end up getting stopped out too early because they trail their stops too quickly. It's such a personal and difficult thing to deal with. Knowing your time frame, all of those things might help a little bit with understanding. But JD, if you send me an email, jhoagland, JHOAGLAND @topstep.com, and come to the group coaching tomorrow. And we will see what we can do to help try and address that. My good friend Vince Capria, who just said good afternoon, is number one, very familiar with this. Now, a week from today for group coaching, we are going to have Jared Tendler, of the famous book, The Mental Game of Trading. He's going to be with us for group coaching and asking your questions, answering your questions. So make sure you get that on your calendar. Make sure you sign up for group coaching for next week, because this is going to be a really good one. This is going to be a very special group coaching, is what they always say on TV when something very special is about to happen. Here is the link so you can get registered for group coaching. I'll be telling everybody about it on forecasts and recap until Wednesday morning. So if you miss it, don't blame me. It will be on YouTube, so you'll be able to see the recordings if you do miss it. But everybody seems to be very excited about Jared Tendler being here. I know I'm excited about being here and in the process of reading his book, and I'm looking forward to having another trading expert, a psychological expert here to talk to everybody. So again, looking forward to it. Get out and vote today if you haven't already, and if you have, go vote again. Have a good night. I'm going to get some rest and be ready for the action tomorrow. I look forward to seeing everybody on the market forecast tomorrow, 7:45, same bat time, same bat channel. It's a pleasure being back with everybody today. I love being back in the markets and back with the opportunity to talk to all of you. So get some rest, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, say a prayer for peace, and I'll see you in the morning. Have a good night.